Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Richa Gupta, an associate professor in the Natural Sciences Department of our college. I have a background in biochemistry, so I usually teach different biology courses in our department. And since 2017, I also started teaching the Natural Science First Year Seminar course, NSF 101. I want to thank the college CTL team for inviting me and my student Pamela Santos for the Zoom conversation today to share our first year seminar experiences with the college community. Thank you, CTL. I'm humbled and I'm really looking forward to our chat with Pamela today. To inform everyone, Pamela is a major in the biology program and is currently in her second semester after joining the college. She received a prestigious award in the fall 2020 Learning Communities Showcase for presenting her work involving the NSF 101 class in a cluster. Thank you, Pamela, for joining us. It is so nice to see you.
Hello, Professor. It's nice to reconnect with you again. I'm so glad to be here today to talk about the first year seminar, and I thank everyone for this opportunity.
Great. So before we begin our discussion, Pamela, I would just like to mention that this is an informal two-way conversation today. So besides sharing your thoughts on the various aspects of the FYS class, as I ask you, please feel free to ask me any questions also that you might have. And now to talk a little bit about the NSF 101 course, I must say that right from my first trial at it, I really like this course because through it, you get to introduce the new incoming students to the college, and I really enjoy that. Also, this course offers some more flexibility to me as an instructor because I get to design and experiment a new modified syllabus each time I teach this course to help my students understand their major better. So I like to teach this course every year at least once. And actually, it was in the spring of last year that this course took an interesting turn for me when the chair of our department, Dr. Maria Antazari, came up with a great idea of piloting a bio cohort project. Here, the goal was to implement a STEM cluster consisting of the program core class NSF 101 with three other introductory level classes, that is English 101, Math 115, and HUC 106, the public speaking class. And the vision was to provide an interdisciplinary and connected learning experience to our students while polishing their STEM skills in the very first semester. So, as you can probably relate to it now, the project was therefore very ambitious. I really liked it and was immediately on board. And together with Dr. Tuli Chatterjee for the English class, Dr. Tao Chen for the math class, and Professor Rebecca Schwartz for the public speaking class, I participated in the Learning Community Seminar. It was a truly wonderful experience working with all these three colleagues. And thanks to them and the seminar, we all got to meet and brainstorm together on how we could connect, our respective course objectives and activities on a shared chosen theme of climate change. So I also redesigned my NSF 101 curriculum on climate change, and particularly I emphasized the application of scientific knowledge to real global issues when I taught this course to help students develop critical thinking skills. So I hope this provides a good background for our conversation today. And now, Pamela, my first question to you is, how do you think the science concepts on climate change were covered in NSF 101 class? Did you enjoy learning those principles?
Yes, before taking NSF 101 class, I had no idea that climate change was a real thing. I had no idea about the causes and effects of climate change. This class made me open my eyes, and it is so important to know what's going on in the world today. And climate change is the major problem that we are dealing with. We did activities, learning small exercise and discussions on the effects of climate change that can really disrupt the balancing between organisms and their local environment. Also, we learn about the greenhouse gases, which helped me to understand the formula in my next chemistry class also. All this was very revealing. I will never forget those principles, and they are helping me in my next classes such as biology and chemistry. So, Professor, would I get a chance to study climate change topic again in my next classes?
Wow, that's an interesting question, Pamela. It's great to know that you're interested in studying climate change in more details. So actually, to inform you, recently discussions have happened in our department, wherein some faculty shared that they would like to cover climate change education even in more advanced classes of the biology program. And also, it seems some more clusters on climate change will be running soon in our department. So yes, definitely there's some good news. And I think it ties to your interest now. So just to continue our conversation further, if you recollect, we did some simple home experiments in the NSF 101 class last fall. Uh, so do you think they helped you to understand climate change better? And what are your thoughts on those?
Oh, Professor, that was my favorite part. Even when we were taking online classes, we were learning how to do some home safe experiments that really sparked my curiosity further, and I enjoyed them a lot. As a result, I am more inclined to doing science experiments and participating in the research now. To briefly describe, we did three STEM mini labs. The first one was in carbon footprint, which helped me to understand at my own level how much carbon dioxide I produce, which is the major greenhouse gas. So we first need to look at ourselves and our daily activities. I learned something new, that how could I make a change in this world by reducing my own carbon footprint? In the next lab, when we covered the concept of pH using home chemicals, it really helped me to understand how the pH of water in our ocean is changing over time. Finally, the third lab, experiments on how the ocean acidification is happening using eggshells was very interesting too. It really demonstrated to me how marine organisms are being affected due to the decrease in pH of our oceans, and we need to do something about this. I learned about the importance of making conclusion using evidence.
Thanks, Pamela, for sharing all those details on the three labs. What do you think about graph plotting and data analysis? Do you think you are skilled at it now?
Absolutely. I learned how to plug pie chart versus bar aligned graphs, and I'm using all that learning in my other higher science classes and labs. I understand science talks and I read science talks better now. It is incredible how advanced I was in my chemistry class because of this. It was much easier for me to plug graphs and read them. I can analyze data and other experiments in a certain degree now, and I want to learn furthermore. So, Professor Gupta, how can I improve my career as a scientist further and participate in a research program?
I'm so glad to hear that you are interested in doing research now, Pamela. Having actually a proper research experience not only looks good on your resume when you graduate as a STEM major, but participating in research also helps to boost your academic performance in the science classes. So yeah, it's great to know that you are interested in doing research. And at LaGuardia, we have different undergraduate research programs, and especially two of them are 1 year long programs, and they are very prestigious. One of them is called as the CUNY Research Scholars Program, and the other one is the NIH Bridges Program. And announcements for both of these programs, they usually come out in the summer or fall. So I would suggest keep an eye out for them in your LaGuardia email account. And also, before you fill in the application for any one of these two programs, I suggest that explore the Natural Science Department website, also the MEC department website, because there the name of different faculties are listed with their areas of research interest. So then you could explore and you could see with whom your interest matches, in which particular research area, and then go ahead and contact that professor by email, perhaps even schedule a conversation to discuss their research project. So this way, you would be able to identify a research mentor before even applying, and then the mentor will guide you further. So, many students in LaGuardia participate in research programs. And I think at this point, when you are about to finish your second semester, it's the right time to think about, participating in research. And with regard to your question on, how can I, further advance my career as a scientist, a number of career-related opportunities take place in the college. Like events are organized by the Center of Career and Professional Development, also by various student clubs, like the STEM club or the Women in Technology club. So I would say, if an event is happening and you are free during that time, and there is no class, then go ahead and attend those career events, and automatically you will advance in your career that way.
Thank you, Professor. I'm very interesting.
Great. Um, so Pamela, my next question to you is on the co-curricular events that were organized for you students in the cluster last fall. Would you like to attend more of such events on climate change in future?
Oh, I remember that two events took place and a guest speaker were invited. That really helped me to learn new knowledge. We learned what New York City councilmen are doing to combat climate change issues, and also what efforts are going to restore back the Newtown Creek near our campus. All this was very interesting. I would definitely like to attend more curricular events on climate change.
Great to know that, Pamela. Your feedback is very important. And, going forward, when we conduct this cluster again, we will surely look into organizing more co-curriculars on climate change. And, next, I want to briefly describe the new integrative assignment that was developed for this cluster. It is called as, the title of the assignment is My Interdisciplinary Perspective on Climate Change. And here, essentially, the students prepare their individual narrative digital presentation on their learning from all the 4 classes that were taken in the semester. The assignment is worth 20% of the final grade in NSF 101. So it's a high stakes assignment. And, when I initially developed it, then all other faculty who are teaching in this cluster also provided their feedback on it. So revisions were made and it entailed a lot of hard work. And in this assignment, we are targeting global learning and integrative learning core competencies and digital and oral communication abilities. So, right in the beginning of the semester, when I discussed this assignment with the students, detailed discussions take place in class on the core competencies and communication abilities so that students are guided how to put together their work at a competent level. So Pamela, what are your thoughts on this assignment? Was it challenging for you or did you enjoy doing this assignment?
Well, by doing this assignment, I was able to make a connection in learning in NSF 101 with the other 3 courses. It really helped me to reflect in my overall learning chemistry on climate change and what specific skills I learned. For example, in NSF 101, as I spoke earlier, we did STEM mini labs and I learned how to read and plot graphs. This knowledge helped me in my math class, where also we cover graphs and how to calculate the y-intercept and the minimum and maximum of a function. In both NSF and English class, we learn how to do a research paper. I never ever did a research paper before. We did a research paper about the causes and effects of climate change. We learned how to do MLA and APN citation. Both classes help me with my writing skills, and I'm using those skills in my English 102 and reading class currently. My public speaking class really helped me to develop my oral communication skills because we have to do a presentation. And I was shy at first, but later on, I was okay. And this was connected to my NSF 101 class because I did a digital video and a group presentation there, which really helped me to improve my confidence in speaking out loud and clear. So, Professor, it was a little challenge in the beginning, but we got good 12 weeks to do these assignments, and in the end, it was satisfying. I'm thankful for this experience. I'm glad I can make a digital video now. I learned new technology. The prompts in this assignment was very clear, and I want to thank my SS Miss Samantha also for helping me with the technology.
I'm so glad to hear, Pamela, that you found the assignment helpful and that it provided you an opportunity for self-reflection. So to conclude now, Pamela, would you like to add something more about the course or its benefits to the students? What do you think and what do you recommend for the future when we conduct this course again?
Sure, Professor, I can share my thoughts. The course is beneficial to students because they can learn about the college and the different resources in college. Also, we get to do self-assessments, which I feel it's very important for science students to understand our strength and weakness and how to improve further. For instance, when we did the About Me and Understanding Myself assignments, we had to explain a little about ourselves and our career goals. Students can also learn how to manage their day schedule, as we did a time management exercise that benefit me to plan time for my classes, self-study, and other commitments. Finally, students can learn what it is like to be a scientist, which prepares them for the major of their choice. For the future, I recommend that other science classes also describe more about the causes and effects of climate change. It will help to spread more awareness and educate students on this important issue. Maybe if they realize that we can make a change by trying to reduce our own carbon footprint, it would be really nice for the world. I also recommend more learning community for students. They really bring the different classes together and makes it easier for us to be successful as you can apply what you learn in one class to another.
Mhm. Thank you for sharing all that feedback, Pamela. We can really see your growth as a mature learner. And great thoughtful points have been mentioned by you, and I completely agree that learning communities do help to increase student learning and success. Even from a faculty perspective, I witnessed it firsthand for my own NSF 101 class, how the learning from math, English, and the public speaking class came in handy for students when they had to write their research paper that Pamela was talking about earlier. And so, when they had to present their hypothesis, experiments, results, the data, and conclusions all in a logical order in that research paper, the learning from the other three classes really helped, as compared to my previous attempts of conducting this course with the students. So, I completely agree that learning communities do help to, polish student skills and advance their academic performance. And also, I would like to add that in this particular learning community, we also organized support sessions for our students outside the class time in collaboration with ASAP. So a big thanks to the ASAP team for helping us organize those sessions because they really help to bring in a sense of community to address and resolve student issues, which was so important for these FI students who started their college journey with online classes. So yes, learning communities can surely help towards student retention and success. And with this, we would like to wind up today's conversation. Um, Thank you, Pamela. Many thanks to Thomas also for helping us in coordinating today's session, and Michelle for inviting both of us to share our thoughts. Um, I wish everyone a wonderful week ahead and great rest of the semester. Stay healthy and see you soon again, Pamela.
You too. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity, Professor. Thank you. Thank
You're
you,
very
everyone.
welcome.